Now, let's go to Dr. Tony Aidoo. Dr. Tony Aidoo was in that famous strong room in 2008. Doc.
Good morning, Senna, and morning to your listeners and viewers. I was there with Kwesi Pratt.
Yes, I know. I know.
I say, I was there with Kwesi Pratt. We were monitoring the result sheets which Afarajan needed to sign to confirm parliamentary, presidential winner. You see, Senna, the whole NPP has an enterprise that is shamefully criminal. People used to say elections are won at the polling stations. It's not true. Elections can be won or lost in the strong room of the East European Commission. Mark Benu sitting there, connived with Roger Metalunu. The 6 Kumasi constituency results that came had already come more than 48 hours. And I took it from Roger. First I told him, why don't you pass it on so that the other parties will see, and then finally it goes to Afarajan for endorsement. Oh, Michel, when we have problem later, these will come in handy. So I took the thing from him and drove to Cuckoo Hill, where we had our campaign office. Before I got there, Roger had called Kwame Ahoy. Kwame, I won't let you photocopy. You take it. You like this? I said, oh. So I brought it back to Roger. There was an informant of mine at the Ghana Air Force Base. And throughout the day, he was giving me reports of movements. On the day that we had Dahulabalu, Ken Kandapa, and Jacobich Abelamte took the plane 147, is it F-47, Fokker, yeah, Fokker 27, because Rollins was using the Fokker 28 to Kumasi. Then I said, hey, I sent Baba Debbie. So I was standing by the balcony and I saw Jacobich Abelamte has come back with Dambochi, and they were rushing to Afarajan's office. So I followed up with my laptop. They wanted Afarajan to declare, and I said, there's no way you're going to declare. Look at my figures. And the program I was using keep tracking you back and forth. So I knew that there's no way Akufo-Addo could win that election. In fact, if I was a diabetic person, I would have had my right leg amputated. Because walking with Kwesi Pratt, I fell into a gutter in front of them. And it took 4 months to heal. 4 months. My skin was not broken, just a bruise. So the attempt by the NPP to rig election is legendary. They tried it. Every election they tried it. I'm not surprised that yesterday a judge ruled that Nsawam Adwajiri, isn't it?
Yes.
Must be recollated. And this judge, though I have no proof, I've learned on social media, is a staunch NPP member who stood for elections, the primaries in 2008 and lost. Senna, one campaign elections cycle comes to an end, barely 2 hours, another start. For the next 4 years, we're going to hear a lot of politics. And you ask yourself, when does this country get the time to attend to important business of managing the economy, ensuring good governance and so on? When? But so many issues contained in the topic you've given us are calling for attention. Let me approach it by saying, I've always warned the NDC, try as much as possible to avoid the courts, because the courts have been packed to the rafters by a fascist regime. And every time, well, it seems, am I the only person familiar with fascism? That I keep telling you Akufo-Addo is a fascist and nobody else sees it. Why? The man's body language itself is fascist. He suffers from what we call Napoleonic behavioral syndrome. And you know what Napoleonic behavioral syndrome is? You know Napoleon was also a short-put guy. Short-put. And they have a complex of inferiority. So they have to become aggressive to overcome that inferiority complex for being short. So for 8 years, this country has been subjected to the whims and caprices of the Apalahala man. Apalahala. Destroying not only our economy, but the very moral foundation of the society. My one takeaway that gives me sleepless nights is creeping religiosity. The creeping religiosity that has dominated the whole country and now has become the foundation for politicking. Apart from the so-called false prophecy of the charlatans, it looks like our leaders are also involved in this creeping religiosity. Sure, if you believe that God made you the president, keep it to yourself. And for once, I agree with Mensa Otabil that God has nothing to do with Ghana politics. It's not God who chooses for us a president. It's the people of Ghana. The people of Ghana. Your first line of loyalty is to the people of Ghana. God doesn't choose presidents. In fact, your elections does not attract God's attention all over the world. This religiosity is damaging our whole life. Go to the Bible. It claims the Jews are the chosen people. So what about me? Am I not God's child? The chosen people are the ones today who are unleashing genocide on Arabs and Palestinians. Chosen people. What coswallop is that? Chosen people. Chosen by who? Which God? Chose Israel. Which God? That's Osubempa. Consult when he goes into his spiritual world and there is a meeting and God presided. What kind of rubbish is this? Mensa Otabil put his hand on the pie when he said, God does not choose presidents. And it is true. Your first line of loyalty is to the people who chose you to be president. Ghanaians, not God. This God, this God that, and Ghana is blessed. Ghana is in the eye of God. If there is any valuation at all by God, Ghana will be the most forsaken country. Forsaken because you sit down, destroy your environment. And he said, we are at the center of the world and God loves us. What kind of warped situation do we have in? Cry the beloved country all the time. There is this notion going around that NPP lost because of voter apathy. What is voter apathy? There's nothing like voter apathy. When the people clearly say that we won't go to vote because you didn't give us development. An apathetic person doesn't care about the politics going on. But these people, they cared. They cared with the effect that we won't vote. And they didn't vote. And MPP lost Poto. Omari Poto. Senna, I don't know what the future holds for Ghana. We have sat down for 8 years for this Apala Halaman to terrorize us, that people couldn't talk. Teachers who are dissatisfied with policies can't talk because if you talk, they will transfer you to a place you don't want to go. Our policemen are corrupt. But the judiciary, Jesus Christ. And we call ourselves democratic. Democracy is not functional in only your 4-year cycle of voting and election. So you voted peacefully, so what? You voted peacefully, but those who voted are the ones who are suffering. I like it when President Mahama said the political elite has one more chance to show that democracy can percolate. The benefits of democracy will percolate down to the ordinary person. If it doesn't, this country will see things that we have never bargained for. You saw the vehemence in the votes that they cast for the NDC. It is because they are fed up. They are fed up with this fascist guy. And Kwesi Pratt is a fascist. He's not a tyrant, he's a fascist. Packing the Supreme Court, packing the Appeals Court, packing the High Court, so that you will escape accountability and retribution. And people say, God bless Ghana. You go and vote for a president and you attribute your choice to God. God has nothing to do with your elections. You are insignificant. Your elections, it is you who must take stock of why you voted this man there and what do you expect this man to do. There is this priest, the one who has been cited for double identity and that kind of thing. Kusi.
Reverend
Victor Kusi.
Yes. Man has double identity.
He said, on the night God will declare Baumia and Martin Opoku Prempeh president and vice president. And when God did it, he goes back to his cheering congregation and they say, what is wrong with us? So gullible. How can we be so gullible that these half illiterates who go and read portions of the Bible and come and put themselves up as Archbishop this, Archbishop that, and you follow them. You follow them like, I don't even know what word to use. Like bees following the scent of, what do they use to make?
Nectar.
Nectar. Sena, I am happy, but I'm not happy. I'm happy that we have money to get rid of this fascist ruler. I'm happy that the 8-year cycle of fascist rule has come to an end. But what does the future hold? That is my daily worry. When I go to bed, I don't sleep. I think the whole night. What is happening to this country? We eat, sleep, drink, politics. And yet, when you vote for somebody to be in charge, that person go and enrich himself and pauperize you. Don't give you anything. They'll starve you for 4 years, and before the 4 years is out, there is elections. So they go and bring you money. Bring you money. So you vote for them. How much money did Baumia spend on this campaign? Even on the primaries. They say he spent what, 80 million Ghana cedis? Where did he get all the money to buy all that pickups? Only a vice president. There should be a lifestyle investigation into every public holder. Because these politicians have taken us for a ride for far too long. Of course, I'm a politician too. I'm a politician. But the one thing I accept in the Bible is love thy neighbor as thyself. Because if you love your neighbor as yourself, you won't steal from him, you won't take his wife, you won't bear false witness against him, and so on and so forth. That is the only commandment that makes sense in the Bible. The rest is full of contradictions. The Bible, full of contradictions, so that charlatans and half-baked bishops, half-baked clergy can come and convince the gullible audience, their congregation. Even if a priest is caught red-handed slashing somebody's throat, the congregation will still go and follow him. What is wrong with that? What is wrong with the black man, in fact? What is wrong with us? We eat, drink, and sleep politics. The aftermath of this election is not what democracy should be. In 2009, Kwesi Pratt, Fifi Kwete, and others invited me to T-Poly, Takoradi Polytechnic, to talk about socialism and the NDC. And I felt this was a good opportunity to tell our grassroots supporters that when your party wins power, it doesn't mean state property belongs to the party. That's the trend I was going. They weren't comfortable, Kwesi Pratt and others. They weren't comfortable. They wanted to continue to bash Kufuor and the NPP. You've got victory over them. Why continue to bash them? The important thing is to educate your supporters that to every right corresponds a responsibility. That's what I was going to tell them. They slow hand clapped me and then I left. And then Kwesi Pratt, Fifi Kwete went on the tirade, still bashing the Kufuor administration. 2 weeks after the Takoradi seminar, our people started invading the toll booths, the toilets, etc., clearing everybody because our government is in power, so we are taking over. Is that how we want to live? One party goes out of power, a new one comes in with its own cohort of supporters and business people. Whether you sin against the state or not, your business must be collapsed because you are not part of the NPP or NDC movement. Why? Is that what democracy is for? Eh? Isn't it time we grow out of this? The Jews and the Israelis, they are God's chosen people. What kind of nonsense is that? There are 8 billion, more than 8 billion people of different color, different nationality, different culture. And only Israel is the chosen one by God? Jesus Christ. Ah, why? Why are we so gullible? What's wrong with us? So the NDC will go to court and they will lose in the court because the courts are packed. All the way to the Supreme Court. You take your case and you will lose. You know why? Because since June 1981, the judiciary has decided to punish NDC for the unfortunate murder of the 3 judges. They will remember every year they hold their memorial and you take your case to court and you think they will accept your case. Inconsistency characterize the judiciary all the way to the top. And it makes the law unpredictable. And yet, the value of justice is that the law must be predictable. The principle that was used to judge one case must be used when the circumstances are the same. Yeah. Not the flip-flopping that we see our Chief Justice doing. But then, I think her matter is on the menu, isn't it? Yeah. Sinner, John Mahama has a whole lot of problems ahead of him. So do Ghanaians. I hope the 5-member team that have been set up do not terminate their inquiries with Justice Adapa having 1 million in a bedroom. Galamsey is destroying our environment. We are being poisoned. And we know who owns the excavators that go and poison us. This guy at the Minerals Commission, AEC, he'll come and chokrodo. Yabbing. He said, oh, we have the gold catcher. If you have the gold catcher, why don't you give it to the small-scale miner so that they leave our waters alone? You got a gold catcher. We will use it. We will license them. Eh? So people, because of politics, behave with impunity. No reasonable conduct. Everything we do is centered within the milieu of politics. Why? When do we have time to think about the economy, to think about our environment? I have very strong misgivings. I'll leave it like that. We have to wake up. from our slumber. We have to extricate ourselves from the grips of the charlatan priest. Archbishop, this archbishop, that archbishop. Who made them archbishop? From where? Who ordained them? God? God didn't ordain any. There is no clergyman in Ghana who was ordained by God. Probably by the devil. No, it's very annoying. The way our people are misled. All the time. Why? Liars and half unintelligent people will be quoting Bible at you, even though the Bible passage almost count, they don't understand it, and they want to transfer that knowledge, the ignorance onto you. The Bible glorifies everything that is negative. Slavery is glorified by God. War, where people kill each other, is glorified by God. One time I took Mensa Otabil on when he kept saying, scientists do not manufacture anything. It was God who created those things and covered it. And when you get closer to God, you unveil and you get it. What kind of nonsense is that? What kind of blasphemous theology is that? Those who created the atom bomb, Oppenheimer and others, was it God who created the atomic bomb or man who created the atomic bomb? You can't stand here. Scientists do not create anything. God gave you a brain. Use it beneficially to your people, not to your family and friends. So the next 4 years is going to be interesting. And I can only pray and hope that John Mahama lives up to expectations. The people of this country have suffered too much. This democracy has been meaningless to them, to a majority of people. And those of us even in the cities, we are being forced to drink poison water. Thank you.